Let us spend some time with Saint Matthias, Apostle, whose feast we celebrate. Our opening hymn had a very expressive and accurate wording. Give us your energy and zest to do for God our very best. Give us your energy and zest to do for God our very best. Apart from this being the best definition of God's helping grace, the support God gives us in situations, give us your energy and zest to do for God our very best. It sums up the work and the mission of an apostle, the energies of faith, the strength of faith, the vitality of his commitment to God and his friendship with Jesus. The color of the liturgy is red, showing that Matthias also gave his life for Christ. It can make us think about the why of martyrdom. Why is it that the first Christians, and Christians in general, Christianity, Christ's mission, that the first Christians, the disciples, were good people? Those who converted to Christianity only brought good to society, caring for the elderly, preserving life, not committing abortion, keeping their children, celebrating each other's gifts, sharing their goods. So why is it, how is it that a powerful empire like the Roman Empire, at the top with the Caesars, they did not welcome them as a leaven which could have healed the problems of the Roman society, and instead they reacted with violence? And on this feast, I'd like to share this thought, which might be challenging. The power of the Roman Empire, the elite, including with the emperor, they wanted to hijack Christianity's energies, as it were, as our hymn put it. They wanted to exploit the strength which this religion brings, but instead of investing it into the service of the common good, to use today's language, they wanted to invest it into their military power and the preservance of their own power. That's why they made the offer to Christians: show sacrifice to Caesar as your God, and then you can keep your faith, your goodness, and you are welcome with your teaching. And this explains for me why the martyrs said an explicit and utmost and ultimate no to this offer. Because they did not want to invest the precious faith and their energies and power of faith into the service of war machines. They did not want to serve selfish interests, to keep a decadent elite in power. And though it sounds political, it has nothing to do with politics. It is about moral discernment. Our church is situated in a very poor area of London, even if it's changing. St. Augustine's is in the midst of so much suffering, linked or unlinked to our church, like the stabbing of a grandparent, a grandmother, last Friday, a pointless death. And there are so many events like this: shooting, stabbing, killings, gang revenge, physical violence, drug abuse. In this sermon, in this celebration of the Feast of the Apostle, I'd like to recognize meaning in these meaningless sufferings. This should prompt us Christians, in the fashion of our first martyrs, to say no to the decadence of our culture, to the decadence of our own Caesars. Contemplating the beauty of the kingdom of the God, contemplating the dazzling beauty of the Gospels, will give us this strength. Because the more our eyes are fed on the beauty of the kingdom, the starker the contrast is with the decadence of our present elites. And this is my working hypothesis and point I want to make, that Christianity is the peace of religion. And the very fact that it often failed through history, as was put in the service of wars, crusades, colonization, approving wars of kings and Caesars and princes, or parties or prime ministers, is just shows our point that elites and powers want to hijack Christianity's precious energies of faith and social cohesion and invest into something what is the opposite of it. Being a priest, saying Mass on a daily basis, it's not a hobby. It's not a convenient thing. Sometimes I wish if only I shouldn't do that, because every time when we receive the Eucharist, aware, unaware of, knowingly, unknowingly, our eyes are filled up with the beauty of the Gospel, with the power of the Gospel, which is the power of discernment. Our ears, our understanding, our intellect is transformed by the world to come, by the strength of the martyrs, by the joy of the martyrs. And this just gives us the strength and the discernment, at least I can speak on my behalf, to saying no to war hysteria. And it's profoundly symbolic that our first reading, Judas Iscariot betrayed Jesus. He's a model of the empire, of the hijacking intention of the empire. He wanted to have a political leader who is powerful, who shows power, political, kingly, and so on. So it is so important for us to recognize that our political elite, those who are in support of any form of war in the present situation, including NATO leaders, just listen to Radio 4, this news, they are hijacking not simply the power of their people, the power of goodwill of people and Christianity, but they do something more. They are betraying the service of the common good. So let us ask for strength and discernment on the feast of St. Matthias, to recognize the paths which lead to decadence and decay. And let us fill up our eyes, our intellect, with the beauty of the kingdom, in order to recognize the decadence, the sheer decadence, what is going on in our culture, and just page through visually the latest Eurosong contest, its dresses, its lyrics, its poor quality music. This is the coat of arms of our age, and our coat of arms is the joy and strength of the apostles.